I said, most important thing as well today, just to talk about it while we're here, is the kinder pot. You know, as I fished in that match, after my initial feed with the big pot, this is all I used all day.
Right.
Just the small, this is the actual smallest cab pot that Preston do, which I used to fish that all day. And it's surprising when you're catching maybe 50, 60
How
pounds.
much you can still get through.
Oh, you can go through 3 to 4 pints of chop worm and casters through a little pot like that.
Just to finish off the elastic then, at this end,
Yeah.
we've got a pull bung.
I've still got the pull bung. One thing is, if you do hook a carp, I've still got the added bonus, if I need to get it out. There's the pull bung.
Yeah.
Elastic goes straight through the middle, with the little bead on the end.
Yeah, simple.
Very, very simple, but very effective.
Excellent. And is that set just at full depth or over?
Yeah, on the actual day, because of the conditions, as you can see from that, it's virtually dead depth.
Yeah.
But I did actually fish a float length over, so obviously I would move the float up to there.
Is this something that when you're fishing with chop worm, is this something that you vary a lot while you're fishing, or do you?
I think with chop worm, what we find with chop worm is the fish hang onto the bait. So and you are fishing for quality fish, so you can fish a bit along the bottom. You know, because you obviously pick up bigger bream, cruisins. You know, I did catch a lot. I probably caught 30 cruisins on that day.
Right.
And you know for yourself what they're like to catch. They're very difficult some days. And there's little tiny bites and cruisins just looked in, you know.
Yeah.
Even though I was fishing 4 inches over depth, because with the tow as well. What I find with if it's towing, what people don't seem to realise is I fish like a lot of my fishing done with dead depth. But when it's towing and your float's going through, in theory, that line is dragging.
Yeah.
So if any fish touches that, you actually still see it because everything's dead tight.
Yeah.
Even though if it's trotting through and someone picks that bait up, you still see that indication on the float.
Got you. Okay. And other rigs?
Other rigs, yeah, on the day. That's just a little roach rig I set up. That's a little PB8, 4B10. I've got that's 011 main line, 010 hook length, 18 PR 32 hook. And like you can see on there, it's just a slight little strung out rig.
Yeah.
Now I can fish this on the day, like we'll talk about later, is I actually caught a lot of roach at top 4.
Right.
Shallow and on the deck. It's just one of those rigs which is there just in case. And as on the day it did help me out.
Okay.
Then the next rig is, if I can find it, basically top 4 again.
Yeah.
This is on the bottom. That's an Inter 1 0.4, number 6 elastic, original Stipp elastic, same connector, like I said, 0.4 float, same sort of rig really. Now this is a 0.4, but I can actually, it's still strung out. I can bolt this, I can string it out. If the roach are near the bottom, you want a slow drop.
Why do you go for that shape instead of the actual sort of bulky shape? Because I mean, at the end of the day, you're shotting your float down onto the bristle, aren't you?
Yeah, but these floats, these actually cock very close to the bristle, so they're fishing very, very quickly.
Right.
So if anything wants to take it on the drop, it registers on the float. Yeah. I mean, I think to be honest, you can't beat these floats for fishing short, on the drop. You know, delicate fishing basically. Like I said, these are carbon stems as well, so they do follow the shot down more so than a metal stem.
But main line and hook lengths on that one? Same
011 main line, 010.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just one little thing about pole rigs, Des, and I think it's something that confuses a lot of anglers. How do you go about deciding length of line between elastic and float tip?
One is conditions.
Right.
You know, if it's blowing at absolute hoolie, then you need to control your float better. You need a longer line. You know, if it was a flat calm day that when I was down 3 or 4 weeks ago, I would actually, I mean, the White Acres rules are you need to have 8 inches between the end of the pot or the elastic to your float.
Right.
I always bring
a
little tape.
Right.
And at the start of the week, on my bait tray, I mark 8 inches.
Right.
If I'm fishing somewhere where I want the shortest line I can, I'll make sure it's dead on 8 inches.
That's a good tip. Yeah, very good.
You know, I don't. You know, at the end of the day, a rule's a rule, and you need to stick with it.
I know there's been a trend. I mean, as commercial fishing's evolved, there's been a trend towards, you know, certain anglers we read about going past the feed and things like this. I mean, is it something that you take into account at the start of competitions, or do you ever add line on during the course of, or what's your thoughts on that?
Not really. I always try. You know, I think most anglers nowadays, most good carp anglers, always try and fish the shortest line as possible to try and eliminate missed bites. As for fishing past bait and stuff, to be honest, none of my success has ever been on that. It's always about feeding. It's all about feeding to how the fish are feeding on the day, rather than trying to fish past where you're feeding. You know, yeah, okay, on occasion I might flick me rig past and let it come in towards where you're feeding, which the fish do hang off a bit. But as for fishing past, not really.
Don't do it.
No.
Okay. That's good. That's all the pole rigs covered.
Just one other, one other, which was a margin rig I actually set up on the day, which was, like I said to you earlier, which is basically down here to the left.
Yeah.
I found myself about, what's that, 2.5, 2'6".
Yeah.
Got hollow 13, just through that top three. 017 main line straight through. Yeah. To a 14 PR28.
Take no prisoners, really.
Yeah, at the end of the day, this was, and I think on this lake, well, I've obviously been here a few years now. This lake, really, if you go down the edge, they're normally big fish. If you are lucky enough to catch one, they are big, so you want to be set up for it. Yeah. You know, not said 017 straight through, no prisoners.
So everything's taken care of as regards to the rigs, isn't it? Okay, run me through the bait that you bought on the day.
Yep. Obviously, I'll start with the long pole, Dave. There's my chalk worm and caster mix. Very simple. Got a little bit of corn in that as well, because it just gives me an option of putting a piece of corn on the hook.
I watched you chopping these up. You chop your worms really fine for this.
I do. I mean, at the end of the day, you're trying to catch a lot of maybe fish up to sort of a pound. You're not trying to catch big carp. If I was fishing big carp, I wouldn't chop them as fine as that. Right. I said that will probably, hopefully, that'll last me 5 hours. Right. Then I've got my just normal casters there, which I'm looking to fish on my top 4 line. Right. With my 2 roach rigs, really. Okay. Okay, that's just, and like on the day I actually brought 4 units of casters to this peg. I think I brought a unit of hemp and whatever units I was left with meat and corn. Right. And then down the edge, like I said, on sort of my get out of jail rig, if you like, that's just meat and corn mixed together. Very simple. But that was that option really was if I was in. Did
you put any additives on these at all?
No, that's just normal.
When you put the water on days like
yeah, like you said, a little bit of water there obviously makes the meat sink as well, because it does float if you're not careful. Yes.
Excellent.
And then I've got me little bit of ground bait. Yeah. Just the match method mix there, which I was obviously I'm going to start on that on the feeder to hopefully try and get some quick fish while my pole line's brewing away nicely. Okay.